Trump's Venezuela operation has resulted in Maduro's capture, and now Greenland seems to be in the crosshairs. Europe is trembling, old alliances are shaking in a way. A once unbreakable military pact facing its biggest challenge yet. From Warsaw to Copenhagen, leaders are warning of collapse if Europe does not arm up. European leaders, in fact, are rallying behind Denmark and Greenland, but are apprehensive about Trump's next move. The big question still is this the beginning of the end of NATO itself? Take a look.
U.S. Delta Force warriors storm Caracas, snatch Maduro in a blitz of fire and fury. The Venezuela president in handcuffs paraded through New York, a show of American might. Trump is eyeing vast reserves of Venezuelan oil. Washington's military intervention in Latin America has reignited fears about Trump's designs, but the shockwaves slam Europe the hardest. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk fires a salvo, saying no one takes a weak, divided Europe seriously. Not enemies, not allies. Arm up, unite, or we're finished. The statement follows Trump's territorial taunts on Greenland, a Danish territory. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk assures Denmark can count on European solidarity over Greenland, while warning that NATO members should not attack or threaten each other.
We must do everything to ensure that European-American ties, these transatlantic ties which are, after all, the foundation of NATO and our security, do not suffer in the coming days and months as a result of various announcements, decisions, or misunderstandings.
The U.S. president has been vocal about his desire to take control of the self-governing, mineral-rich Arctic island since returning to the White House. Greenland is on the shortest route for missiles between Russia and the U.S., and Washington already has a military base there. France, Britain, Germany, Italy, Poland and Spain all have backed Denmark, but beyond the assurances, the fear is real. The Danish Prime Minister says any U.S. attack on Greenland spells the end of NATO.
Firstly, I believe that the American president should be taken seriously when he says that he wants Greenland. But I also want to make it clear that if the United States chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops. That is, including our NATO, and thus the security that has been provided since the end of the Second World War.
One of Donald Trump's most influential aides, Stephen Miller, said nobody's going to fight the U.S. over the future of Greenland. The people of Greenland are nervous.
Well, it makes me feel a little nervous. I mean, there's no need for this escalation. Greenland is part of NATO, is part of the Danish kingdom, and he has all the access he wants for the troops, so I see no need. You cannot compare this to Venezuela.
He wants power over Greenland. He wants Greenland, so I'm afraid that if he wants it badly enough, he damn well will do it.
Experts are blunt. If tomorrow Trump decides to send American troops into Greenland, who would stop him? NATO cannot act against its most powerful member. Washington holds the biggest army, the largest wallet, the command structure, and that leaves a question Europe fears to voice. Is NATO truly a shield, or is it breaking apart? Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Shifting focus now to Russia and Ukraine, where we are starting off with the question, is there any peace left to defend in Ukraine, or has the war completely claimed the skies, the ground, the country's future? Any illusion of calm was shattered all over again as the conflict between the two sides escalated into a ferocious aerial exchange. Let's just break this down. Russia claiming its air defense systems intercepted a staggering 356 fixed-wing drones in just the past 24 hours. Moscow saying the attacks came from Ukrainian forces and targeted multiple regions across Russian territory. These attacks also forced temporary flight restrictions at several airports, including in the capital. Moscow further claiming that Kiev is only intensifying attacks. The Russian Defense Ministry reporting more than 250 drones were launched towards Russia on Sunday. Russia reacted with fury, carried out attacks on 148 targets inside Ukraine. These locations included military industrial sites, reportedly long-range drone production facilities, assembly workshops, training centers for drone operators. Meanwhile, Ukraine reporting a relentless assault of its own. The Ukrainian Air Force saying Russia launched 9 missiles, 165 drones beginning Sunday evening. By Monday morning, Ukrainian defenses had shot down or jammed 137 drones. But 10 locations were still hit by a combination of missiles and drones. So that's where things stand. Zelensky warning that the past week has been one of unprecedented intensity, saying that Russia launched more than 1,000 guided aerial bombs, nearly 1,000 attack drones, multiple missiles against Ukrainian cities and positions. Listen to this.
Concrete steps have already been taken, and they are clearly proving effective. In December, 35,000 occupiers were eliminated, and this has been confirmed with video footage. In November, there were 30,000, and in October, 26,000 eliminated occupiers. The increase in these figures is the result of the right decisions.
So the West is preparing for a possible ceasefire in Ukraine, with the US set to lead a monitoring and verification effort. European countries would join if a peace deal is reached. Under the plan, the US would support a European-led multinational force deployed in Ukraine after a ceasefire and will be ready to respond if Russia strikes again. This group is being called the Coalition of the Willing. So far, 26 countries have promised troops or other support, but only the UK and France have actually committed soldiers. Poland, Spain and Italy have opted out, while Germany, Finland, Estonia have raised concerns about their own security. And before we go on any further, a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. As European leaders rally behind Greenland, the big question remains over what the latest developments mean for the NATO. We tell you how and why NATO's future is being questioned after America's Venezuela operation. Angry farmers across France stepping up protests. We tell you all about the situation on the ground. All this and more coming up. On to protests in Iran, which have entered their 10th day now, spreading across most of the country as economic anger turns into open political defiance. With inflation above 50%, a falling currency, a growing death toll, Tehran is balancing between reform and repression. And in the latest, a statue of the late supreme leader, Ruhollah Khomeini, and his successor, Ali Khamenei, have been set on fire by protesters in a northern city of Iran. As tensions flare up, our next report telling you all about the situation on the ground.
Iran's leadership is racing to contain a crisis that is rapidly escalating. Over 1,200 people have been arrested so far. Iranian authorities say hundreds of police officers have also been injured. What began as economic anger is now a broader challenge to the state. Inflation has soared past 52%. The rial has collapsed, and shortages are deepening. The protests, which started in Tehran's bazaar, have spread to universities and small towns. In the latest escalation, security forces were seen entering Birjan University and detaining students. Protests have spread to 27 of Iran's 31 provinces, reaching over 100 cities and towns. The unrest had concentrated in parts of the west, with large populations of the Kurdish and lower minorities. Under intense pressure, President Masoud Pezeshkian has announced a major economic reset, ending preferential foreign exchange rates blamed for corruption. The government concedes that prices may rise briefly, but says direct subsidies will now go to consumers, not importers. Tehran also plans to distribute cash handouts to nearly the entire population. Under the plan, the government would issue monthly coupons worth 1 million tomans, about $7 at the open market rate, to every Iranian. Some economists have questioned whether the measure can achieve its stated aim.
In my view, the government saw that they couldn't rein in the inflation, so they said, let's give people 1 million tomans so that we can somehow absorb the pressure to hold it back. I mean, it's like a temporary painkiller.
Iranian parliament is also reviewing emergency measures, sharper pay rises, tax cuts, subsidies for essential goods, and support for bread and pensions. But even as economic concessions are offered, the state is signaling zero tolerance. Iran's judiciary warns that Tehran will offer no leniency to rioters, even though the public has a right to demonstrate. Tehran accuses the United States and Israel of fueling unrest and warns that security forces will not back down. Inside Iran, reformist allies of the government are also breaking ranks. The United Nations has urged restraint. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has called on Iran to protect the right to peaceful protest and prevent further loss of life. Israeli Prime Minister has described this as a potential turning point, though similar moments have failed to topple the system in the past. Bureau Report, WION. World is One.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.